Hello, everybody. My name is Kirk Robinson, and I have responsibility for the U.S. business with Ingram Micro. And I'd like to welcome you to our TrustX Alliance LinkedIn Live event today. Today, our guests include 4 business technology leaders from across the globe. So please join me in welcoming Mark Essayian out of Southern California in the U.S., Ferdinand Morbach from Frankfurt, Germany, Guy Hocking from London in the UK, and Jeffrey Jansen from Alberta, Canada. Gentlemen, hello, and thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Kirk.
Thank you, Kirk. Glad to be here.
For those of you who don't recognize the names, collectively, these 4 are also known as our co-presidents of Ingram Micro TrustX Alliance Partner Community. Now, TrustX Alliance was founded in 1998, and it's become one of the most prominent and prestigious member-led networks in the technology industry. A community of solution partners, top-tier manufacturers backed by Ingram Micro, all of who are committed to collaboration and the sharing of best practices. In the interest of time, we've noted all 4 members' LinkedIn profiles in the chat, so you can go check that out in your convenience. And gentlemen, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm ready to jump in. You good with that?
100%.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
My first question, I'm going to ask Ferdinand to start, and then I'd ask the rest of you to jump in. But Ferdinand, what technology, solution, or services has had the biggest impact on your customers over the last 18 months?
Well, thank you, Kirk. It's a very brilliant question. By our experience, companies are taking digitization measures in 3 areas due to the corona pandemic: in technology, in business processes, and in employees. The aim of these investments is to digitize the processes in the company. Customers have purchased new software, have bought new hardware, and such as laptops and smartphones, and have set up improvements in digital infrastructure, also to ensure that employees can probably work from home using video conferences instead of face-to-face meeting, also using digital collaboration tools such as Microsoft Teams, also using introducing digital document instead of paper and digital signatures, and using consulting services on digitization to an increasing degree.
Great, thank you. And gentlemen, any other thoughts there around the technology, solution, and services that have the biggest impact?
I think, Kirk, for me, to echo Ferdinand, Microsoft Teams is the obvious one for me. I think that technology has had the largest impact, certainly across our client base. The way these platforms have enabled businesses to keep communicating and collaborating virtually almost overnight has been pretty remarkable, I think, over the last 18 months. I think Teams jumped from 32 million daily users to 75 million in a matter of weeks. And it's not just businesses, I think, that are making the most of this technology. We've also had charities and organizations being able to raise vital funds. So our team set up a virtual quiz using Microsoft Teams Live, enabling charities to raise vital money in this time. So businesses and organizations alike using the technology to their advantage. It's been really good to see.
That's awesome, Guy. Love to hear that. Mark or Jeffrey, anything to add?
Other than basically reiterating what Ferdinand and Guy have said, I think this new platform, this new way of reaching out to people literally around the world like we are today, has really, I think, shown the power of technology in the promise of basically leveling the playing field, giving people equal access and equal opportunity to collaborate, to meet. I know for myself personally, if I think how Teams has changed the way that I have lived my life now. I used to see, for example, the folks here in this room today, we used to meet maybe two to 4 times a year. Now I meet with these gentlemen probably once a week. And just the ability to be able to reach out to somebody in the UK or in Germany or in the US and have a rich, robust conversation, different than obviously in person. But the frequency that we're able to have these types of communications as I think has really changed the way that our entire organization is operating, and has probably led to richer, more robust conversations with more people. So it's a game changer.
Mhm.
Definitely. Hey, Mark, I'm going to throw a different question for you to jump in on. What's the one technology, solution, or service that you wish more of your customers would take advantage of?
Well, for us, that's certainly got to be around security, Kirk. Although we talk it all the time, like I know everyone else on this call does, helping their end users become educated about it. You know, we have some people have the attitude, yeah, I get it, but certainly the ability to collaborate and share data has to be done securely. So we are pushing as hard as we possibly can with our clients and certainly with our prospects along the lines of you have to do this securely. And that's in any conversation, whether it's financial or it's education around your team. It's making sure that the content of your conversation is secure, because it has to be. And I hesitate to use the word push too hard, but we have to. We have to make sure people understand you've got to be secure.
Definitely. Gentlemen, anybody want to add to that question? Some of the technologies and services you wish your customers would be jumping on?
I'm gonna agree with Mark. I think just to maybe drill down a little bit more, MFA is the one for me. I think when we think about the complexity of the systems we're trying to protect now, and we're trying to enable access to infrastructure, software as a service, applications on mobile, desktop, tablets, pretty much from anywhere in the world, and you couple that with the increase in sophistication and threat from the cyber criminals, I think we've got a real job on to secure these environments. So I think if one technology I could say with every single customer of ours would have, it would be multi-factor authentication for me.
Yeah, Kirk.
Ferdinand or Jeffrey, any thoughts there?
Well, it's all to me about productivity and basically achieving the same level of engagement that you can have within your organization, the way that we used to do things primarily on-prem. And so for me, we're doing a lot of work with remote secure desktops and basically finding ways to give people that same experience that they used to have in the office anywhere that they are, which I think is important because, for the first part of the pandemic, a lot of it was just keeping the lights on and keeping people working. Now we're at a position where we, I think, have to really focus on the stride, or how do we make this the same or better experience that we used to have. And using technologies like secure remote desktops, multi-factor authentication with layers of security, I think is essential. And I know that we've seen a lot of very robust discussions and people now starting to move forward with those projects. And I'm hoping that that continues, because what everybody has said with regards to the ability to be secure on any platform, anywhere that you are, I think is going to be vital for most businesses to be able to continue to do what they're doing and remain flexible and basically continuing to do what they're doing. And in some cases, probably doing it better, because I don't think a lot of people are missing the commute to the office or the commute back from the office, the amount of time and energy spent finding parking and all of those things. So I think there's some real efficiencies that we've found through this event. But at the same time, it's all about making sure we're as secure and productive as possible.
Right.
Good. From my time, just as all this, for me, it's high time for companies to arm themselves and their employees so that attacks with these virtual viruses do not become more dangerous than the very real coronavirus itself. And we talk about TrustX aligned partners. TrustX aligned partners are very good experts in cybersecurity and will provide best solutions to protect customers' IT systems and data.
Definitely. All right, here's a question that I think will be, personal for many of us. and it's really about the community. So establishing trust and developing meaningful partnerships plays a huge and growing role in each of your success. What has being part of the TrustX Alliance community brought to you personally and professionally? Guy, let's start with you.
Yeah, thank you, Kirk. Yeah, listen, I mean, TrustX has been there for us as a business. We've nearly doubled in size over the last 5 or 6 years, from 65 staff to 120. And in turn, TrustX has helped us and a lot of our team grow along the way, and then grow their own teams as well, and that includes me personally. But I think during this pandemic, the community has become even tighter. It's almost galvanized it. And honestly, the support we've all gained from the community over the last 18 months has been phenomenal. Having 20, 30 other CEOs and MDs experiencing the same thing at the same time, and getting together virtually to talk through that stuff. Where else can you get that, Kirk? And I think, talking through things like help with government grants, COVID testing policies, implementing social distancing in our offices, not having offices, having offices, how we can help our teams, flourish and stay sane. I don't know. Honestly, for me, this last 18 months has really showcased the value of TrustX, and almost beyond all recognition. So yeah, hopefully that. That's. I think I speak for all of us to say that it's been a crazy 18 months, but we wouldn't have been able to get through it, I don't think, without the community.
Great, thanks, Guy. Jeffrey, how about you?
Well, I think for me, it's from the personal perspective, it's actual, friends. I would say that in any industry, and especially the IT industry, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of competition. And the thought, and we joined the TrustX Alliance 19 years ago. So we were early on adopters. And when we talk about how this industry constantly changes and how we have to constantly reinvent ourselves, a lot of, I think, the success in our business was basically done through our partnerships with TrustX. What it basically meant for us is that, as Guy mentioned, we had access to hundreds of other people who were, in some cases, going through similar transformations that we were. The other big thing, I think, was the ability to reach out throughout the membership to find the experts that we needed to drive new business and to basically help our customers understand the benefits of technology without having to sacrifice the quality. And I guess the analogy that I normally use is when I look at building a house. When you build a house, it's not that you want that sort of guy that knows a little bit about everything. You want to have a great plumber, you want to have a great electrician, you want to have a great concrete guy, a great person to do your drywall. And if you don't have that all in-house, why not partner and get that best contractor, get that best plumber? And of course, if I take that analogy of the house from, let's say, 20 years ago to now, if I think of the complexity that goes into our industry with all of the new technologies, IoT, cloud, AI, big data, all of those facets, are we experts in all of them? No. But I'm fairly certain I have partners in this community who are experts. And that means every client of mine has access to that rich, robust ecosystem, which I think has really benefited us and will continue to benefit us for the rest of time.
Great. Ferdinand, what's your view of the community? What has it done for you personally and professionally?
TrustX Alliance is a unique community of people who trust each other and share the same values. And personally, I felt fully integrated there from the very first moment I met. It is a pleasure to be with people who openly speak their mind and with whom you can talk about personal and business matters. Regarding business, TrustX Alliance offers the extraordinary opportunity to exchange ideas with peers at eye level, to complement one another with skills, and to work together on projects that would not be feasible without such a partnership.
Great, thank you. Mark.
Well, certainly echo what everybody else has said, but let me add that the frank, transparent conversations that you get to have not only between members, but with Ingram and with the vendors that we have to deal with as well have been absolutely beneficial. Ingram has brought several conversations to help the TrustX people. I mean, we've had calls where we've had, well over 150 members attending, learning about different things, helping their business grow. It was interesting that no matter who you talk to, you can have a different political system, a different government system, a different country. We all have similar business issues. And if I can have a very transparent conversation with the other 3 members of this call, and they're like, yep, and here's what we're doing about it. When you're a business leader, sometimes it's a little like, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't have a roadmap for this. Well, you can talk to other people that are facing the same exact thing you are, and they can give you clear insight without any bias. It's just, hey, here's what I did, here's how it worked, and it really genuinely helps.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I feel very lucky to have seen where TrustX started way back in the day as VTN, and I got to spend 2 years running the community. And I know I'll always look back fondly at the partnerships, the conversations, whether it was, over a cold drink at the bar or a lunch, and the thought processes of the more I share, the more I get back. And, personally, the passion from the Ingram team, just to talk selfishly for a minute, the people I worked with on that team and still work on it today have so much passion for this community because we know it's there. It's the power of many. So it's been a lot of fun. I know we only have a couple minutes left, but I want to ask one more question. Obviously, we've pointed out the unique time when, right? The year and a half of this crazy global pandemic. What would you say is the most common business challenge that your customers are facing today? Jeffrey, maybe I'll start with you.
I think it's basically looking for the opportunities and finding and trying to understand the possibilities that are available. I think, and I've said it early on, this is an inflection point for so many of us in that we have an opportunity right now to take a look back at what worked well and bring it forward and mature it. We also have the opportunity to take a look back and see what didn't work and discard it. And we also have the ability to take a look at what hasn't been thought of yet and embrace some of that change. And when you talk about digital transformation, when you talk about the benefits that technology can bring to an organization, there's so much robust discussion that is available and possible. The challenge, I think, for most people is understanding what their journey is going to look like, because it's going to be different for so many people. And how you embrace digital transformation, how you embrace this new normal, this new landscape, I think is still what we're really helping our clients trying to understand while we're trying to understand it ourselves. Right. And this is, I think, the beauty of what we have as a community is we can rest on each other. We can ask each other what everybody else is doing. And again, we have the backing of the amazing vendors that are part of this community, the members, and a $50 billion organization in Ingram Micro that's there to support us all and help us through that journey. So I think that's the biggest challenge, is understanding what the opportunity is.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, any other thoughts on that, the challenges your customers are facing today?
Good. From my side, with the Corona pandemic, it became clear how important it is for small to mid-sized companies to deal with the topic of digitization. Only with a digital transformation, it will be possible for many companies to remain competitive. Many companies have recognized this already and converted their business models to digital solutions and services at short notice and as quickly as possible. In areas such as office, production, sales, and general digital collaboration, companies will continue to invest heavily in the future and in order to align themselves digitally. Even if the change is a financial burden, it will ultimately be necessary to ensure the survival of those companies. And that's what our business is, and that's the field, the area where we can support the companies from Ingram Micro side and the side from the TrustX Alliance partners as well.
Great. Thanks you, Ferdinand. Well, at this point, I want to thank each of you, first of all, for the time and the effort and the passion that you bring to making this a better community. partnership. And I'm going to hand it over to Caitlin right now for the Q&A section.
Perfect. Thank you all so much. And just a quick shout out to our attendees. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. At this time, we want to take some live questions, and I do see that there are a few in here. So please go ahead and put any additional questions you'd love to hear from the team in there, and we'll go ahead and facilitate those. So the first question that we had, it kind of ties into our last conversation, but what's a hesitation that you're seeing from your customers, for maybe not taking advantage of new tech? And I guess what I'll do is I'll throw that out to Guy first.
Yeah, thank you, Caitlin. I think hesitation is an interesting one. I mean, technology adoption has been, if you think about something like Teams, it's been sort of thrust upon a lot of customers and a lot of businesses because they've had to adopt it almost overnight, and that can, I think, lead sometimes to poor practice, the rollout necessarily might not have gone exactly as it should have done. And I think the adoption and enablement of certain technology is becoming a potential problem for clients now, looking back. So a lot of the work we're doing with our customers is almost going back over the sort of rushed rollouts of things like Teams, and actually really drilling into how customers can really get the value out of these solutions now, taking the time, engaging with all the departments, being more consultative, and really understanding the full value of that technology. So I guess really it's the adoption of the technology. Now we've got the time to do that, I think, Caitlin.
Thanks, Guy. How about this question for Mark? Are you seeing any hesitation from your customers for any of these, new technologies? Maybe it's different from before to now?
Yeah, certainly, Caitlin. I think one of the major issues, and I address it when I speak to the C-suite, is they want to have control over the communications to make sure that the right message is getting out to their clients and to their vendors, et cetera. And when they look at something that may not be under their absolute control, I don't mean that in a bad way. They just want to make sure that their company is portrayed the right way. And so we talk to them and say, well, let's discuss that. Let's see what we can do with whatever technology you're looking at to make sure that it's not becoming something that is not communicating with your team internally or either externally. So I think having some control and clear understanding of the tech, that's certainly an issue as well. If you don't demonstrate it properly and let them try it and get that executive buy-in, you're going to have significant hesitation and your project will stall.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to pick on Ferdinand next and Jeffrey. We do have one more question. So this question says, with the current restrictions in travel, do you see mixed reality to perform services, lower travel overhead, and utilize your subject matter experts more effectively? Let's go to, how about Ferdinand?
I think we have already mentioned Microsoft Teams. This way of collaborating is, from my side, the future. We can reduce travels. We can talk quicker and more immediate to each other across the globe, and that will change the whole world of working together.
Excellent. Thank you. Jeffrey, any insight on that from your perspective?
I think what really the interesting thing is that the TrustX community really sort of adopted some of what I would consider to be the moving forward best practices that are going to be out there, which is basically leveraging people, both industry experts, subject matter experts, and people who are geographically, in certain areas, and leverage those resources. We've been doing that for years now. And I have examples, and I know everybody has examples of needing to bring in a subject matter expert from potentially around the world, or having hands and eyes in a particular location that you're not even close to. I've done work in Eastern Canada, in the US, in the UK with partners. Now, do I think we're going to use things like virtual reality, mixed reality, that's still to be determined. But the fact that we're already utilizing each other's shared expertise and sharing those services, sharing those geographies, I think has really helped us. But I do obviously see that being the case moving forward. And I think collaboration and partnership will be key to any organization's success long term. And we've been gifted these platforms to be able to, in essence, make it a better experience. So I think that'll continue, and we'll see lots of developments in these areas.
Love it. So we just had a really great question come into the chat. And the one thing to note about TrustX Alliance is that, everybody has a common goal and they're there to grow their businesses by way of partnership, but everybody has such unique companies and different focuses and skill sets. So I would love to read this question out, and maybe we'll do a rapid fire for all four of you. I know we've got 4 minutes left. So here's the question. With companies embracing more digital technologies this past year, where do you see growth in the next 12 months? What demand are you seeing from the businesses that you serve? Does anyone want to go first?
Sure, I'll fire off on that one, Caitlin.
Thanks, Mark.
So demand is interesting. We're going to our clients and talking about, unified communications, et cetera. But I think the strongest thing we have going for us is actually having conversations with them around IoT. Ingram's got a great group of people there, and we've gone to some of our customers and said, let's talk to your operations people. Let's talk about what's going on. And we get kind of this blank look like, you're an IT firm. I'm like, yeah, but we're familiar with this, and we've got some great vendors that we work with, and Ingram has got a great solution set here that we can talk about. And I still get the blank stare. And so we're generating our demand because Ingram has brought us these abilities to go to our clients and talk about things that the client's just not expecting. So can we do the standard stuff and meet and grow along teams and communications and security? You bet. But when you have a completely different conversation with operation folks and then realize, oh, you can actually impact maybe my manufacturing floor, it's huge.
Great,
Yeah,
thanks.
I'd jump in and just say that IoT team that the Ingram Micro brings to bear has really changed some of my insights. And when I start talking to customers and clients about things, for example, what is their new reality and back to work going to look like? And if, for example, they have on-prem facilities that are being underutilized, how do we try and drive efficiencies there? And I think I was just talking to Savio Lee and to John from the IoT team, and they were talking about devices and kits that we can have to help enable people to better monitor and better utilize the resources in their office buildings. So whether that be having better information about water flow, people usage, temperature, how to control costs on energy, and how to better and more efficiently use the spaces that they have, that to me is an opportunity. I can help my clients basically who have still on-prem environments but are in a hybrid work environment maximize the spaces that they have and ask questions and find efficiencies that they may not have considered in the past because of this new change.
Yeah,
excellent.
I think for me, Caitlin, just to sort of follow on the theme of providing real business value, I think things like Power Platform and Power Automate, particularly, is a tool that every business would value. And we're finding a lot of traction in some of our workshops. We hold a lot of events all online, and we're getting a lot of interest in that area. And I think, if you take a simple business process and automate it, what business wouldn't want to do that, right? And you're providing tangible ROI. And an example, you might have a paper invoicing system, and you have to input it into your account system and then set it out for payment. I think for a large business, that's a full-time job. And I think it's crucial that this kind of technology is more reachable than ever. I think it's included in Office 365, and the Ingram Micro Cloud team and Microsoft have been helping businesses get used to that. And you don't need to be a developer to implement it. So for us, Power Platform and Power Automate has been a real conversation point.
Excellent, thank you.
And from my
Ferdinand,
side, I would like to stress another aspect of this pandemic and the way forward. When we talk to technical guys, then it's very clear they recognize and acknowledge that they are to do investments in better technology, infrastructure, and so on. And the financial guy asks how to finance it. And that's, especially in a pandemic, was a very, very difficult question, crucial question to some companies, where to get the money to do the urgent, necessary investments. And in order to cope with these necessary investments, there are indeed numerous funding programs in all the countries, which small and mid-sized companies in particular can receive financial grants and for the implementation of digitization projects. But what we do is we talk to our customers, we talk to the financial guys, and we give them advice on applying for these grants to help them to get it done financially as well.
Very good. Thank you all so much. So as always, when you're having a lot of fun, half an hour goes very quick. So at this point, I just wanted to provide a very humble thank you so much to our host, Kirk Robinson. Thank you so much to our panelists, our TrustX Alliance country presidents, Mark, Ferdinand, Guy, and Jeffrey. We very much appreciate your insights. At this point, we are going to sign off. But for those of you that are learning about TrustX Alliance for the first time, I encourage you to check out a few links that we just put in the chat, our TrustXAlliance.com, as well as our Imagine Next site at Ingram Micro to learn a little bit more about us. And for our current members who might be listening in, we'll see you next week at our TrustX Alliance Together event, June 1st and 2nd. Still an opportunity to register for that. So thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Caitlin. Bye-bye. Bye-bye
Thanks,
to
everyone.
all.
Take
Thank
care,
you for
everyone.
joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen.